Okay, so now we're ready to tint our photos. When you're choosing your photos, you can use original, but if they're photos of your family or important photos to you, I would suggest that you take them and have them photocopied, have a professional print made of them, and you can use a color photocopy in much the same way you can use a vintage photo. It will tint the same. Have them, printed on a nice, nice piece of paper, and it should print off just fine, and it should be permanent so that you can do this technique and it won't erase your photo. So what I've chosen for my photos is I've just picked these up at a flea market, and I've gone through, there's a one booth near me that has a big basket of photos that they're constantly putting new photos in there, and I've gone through and picked out photos of children playing with toys, and so the title, the theme of my book is going to be Play Like You Mean It. So when you're looking for photos, try to find some that have a story to tell that you'd like to tell in your book. So I've got 5 photos here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break my book up into 5 sections, and each section is going to have one photo showcased and some collage work, and we'll get to that here after a little bit. But for right now, I'm going to show you how to tint a photo with craft paint. Trying to get this plastic. I should have done this first, but right now I'm using Deco Art Americana Multi-Surface satin paint. It's their new paint, and I love all their paints. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit, just a tiny bit. It doesn't take hardly any at all to tint a photo. Just get you a little drop, get some water. You won't even use that much, but you want to make a very thin wash of your paint. And just get a little bit on your brush. And brush it onto your photo. Now if you've got too much setting there, you can take a paper towel and dab at it, and then you would let that dry. And if you want it darker than that to show up better, then you go over it again with another thin coat of wash. I think I'm going to do, I like to just choose a few things in a few points in the photo that I can focus on. A little bit too much on that. I need to dab my paintbrush off a little bit. If you get too much, you just take your paper towel and wipe it off. I'm going to focus in on this. Here, I think we can see a little bit better now. But so you just want to put a very light, thin layer of the paint down. And you're going to let that dry, and then we'll go over it again after it's dried. Dab it on a piece of paper. I think I'm going to do their shirts, because they have the cutest little matching shirts. You can also use your paintbrush to remove too much by wiping it on a paper towel, which is what I'm doing, and pulling it off because it got in some of the dark places, and I don't want it to be in the dark places. I just want it to be on their shirts. So you just continue doing that to your photos, to the ones that you want to put a little bit of color on, and it kind of adds a nice little, pop of vibrant fun. You don't want your paint to be too thick because it won't do a very good job of tinting this photo. If it's too thick, it'll just paint over it. Take your time. The good thing about these old, these vintage glossy photos from, say like the 50s, 60s era, they have that glossy texture to them, so that if you mess up, if you really don't like it, you can get just a little bit of dampness on your paper towel and you can wipe it off. I think I'm going to do the kite on this one because it's kind of got a airplane picture on the kite, and it'd be neat to make the kite look like it's in the clouds. And the name of the kite is Cloudbuster, so that's kind of neat. I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and give it another coat once it's dry. This one's dry. Now when you go over the second coat, you have to do just very lightly, otherwise you'll re-moisten that first coat and it'll give you problems. So very lightly go over that. Don't scrub at it too much. You can always go in and add a third coat if it's not dark enough for you. This isn't meant to be perfect, it's just to give it a little bit of color, a little bit of fun. You can use any color you want on these. I'm just using blue because I'm a fan of blue. I like blue. That really pops out good. So, once you're done tinting your photos, we're going to make up our sections of our book, and I will show you how to do that in just a moment.